there, Huskies. I'm Graham Wilgus. First off, we have this week's Husky in Focus, cheer captain Nico Gonzalez-Stuver.
Yeah. It's poppin'. Okay. Yeah. I gotta ask him. Cause if I don't, it's poppin'. I don't know. It's poppin'. Let's go. Yeah.
I'm Nico Gonzalez-Stuver, and I'm a captain of the varsity cheer team. My freshman year, two of my friends were on the cheer team, and they kept telling me I should try out, and at first I was unsure, but then when my sophomore year came around, I was like, okay, I'll just try cheer, like I'll try out. And then I ended up making varsity, so I was like, oh, maybe this is the thing for me, you know? Last year was one of the first years since I think the 90s that there were boys on the cheer team at the school. So at first I was a little nervous how other people would take it. Honestly, it's like not everyone is completely fine with it. And this year we have 4 boys on the team, so it's even easier. In high school cheer, there's not really as many boys on cheer teams as there are in college cheer. It's a lot more common for college cheer teams to have boys. And that also plays into part of how, like, when I go to college, I might want to do cheer, but you never know, but I'm really thinking about it. My dad has been teaching here for a while, since like the early 2000s, and he always tells me how like cheer has gotten so much better each year, and how when he first started here, the cheer team was only like 5 girls who would just not even go to halftime and would just jump around on the sidelines, and how each year he loves to see how we get more competitive and we do higher skills and more people tumble, and each year he says that it's cool to see how everyone takes the cheer team more and more seriously as the years go on. I'm looking forward to basketball season and competition season and even my senior year, and basically just what cheer has to bring me in the future.
This week in varsity sports, we follow the boys soccer team as they make their way through the playoffs. The Huskies faced off against classic soccer rivals Lyons Township in a round of 16 knockout game at Hinsdale Central Stadium. Both teams came into the game relatively evenly matched. However, an early goal by Husky junior Matt Hawthorne kept OPRF ahead the entire first half. The score was quickly tied at the start of the second half with an LT goal. With a score of 1-1, OPRF retained a powerful offensive pressure, and with 10 minutes remaining, forward Brody Bliss snuck a goal past LT's goalie, giving the Huskies a 2-1 lead. Just as it seemed OPRF would move on to the quarterfinal, LT scored the tying goal with 15 seconds remaining in the game. With the 2-2 score, the game was sent into overtime. Midway through the first half of overtime, a penalty was called on Husky goalie Kel Felton, and LT was awarded a penalty kick, which they successfully converted, giving them a 3-2 lead. The Huskies gave one final push in the final minutes of overtime, but unfortunately were unable to tie the score, ending a very strong season for OPRF soccer. Final score, Huskies 2, Lyons Township 3. HipHop Club is an after-school activity that meets bi-weekly. Let's take a closer look.
I'm the studio manager at HipHop Club. I'm also a producer. So HipHop Club is kind of just like a group of people like centered around hip hop. Like we've got dancers, producers, rappers, singers. Like it's just like this centralized group of like creative people. My job at HipHop Club is I manage time that people get in the studio. I try to balance that out between rappers and singers. I also produce and mix and master and help people write, you know, give people feedback. It's pretty easy to join HipHop Club. All you have to do is just come in on a Tuesday and a Thursday after school. And if you dance, you can go with the dancers and hang out and work on your skills. And if you want to come rap or sing, you can talk to me and I can schedule a time for you. So I plan on going into music industry and music business. I also plan on continuing to produce and make that skill better. It's helped me a lot, and like just being in the studio is just like there's something about it that just can't be like replicated anywhere else. And you can learn stuff from a textbook and everything, but like you just have to spend the time and like learn about the music. I took a class sophomore year, music production class, and it helped me a lot. I joined HipHop Club after that because I was confident in my ability to produce and all that stuff. And it was hard at first because I wasn't like as good as everyone else, but you just got to put in the hours. And so it's a good combination of intelligence in the field and then like actually applying it.
Next, we have this week's installment of The Monitor. I'm Graham Wilgus, and this is The Monitor. Sleep. That thing you do every night where you close your eyes and your brain messes with you for a couple hours. Sleep is vital to our well-being, as important as the air we breathe, the water we drink, or the likes we get on Instagram. It's especially important for teens, as studies show that lack of sleep limits your ability to learn, listen, concentrate, and solve problems. It can even cause you to forget your homework, so you can finally stop blaming the dog for eating it. Teens need about 8 to 10 hours of sleep each night to function best. But one study found that only 15% of teens reported getting that much sleep, and the CDC reports that nearly 70% get 7 hours or less on school nights. That's why the American Academy of Sleep and Medicine recently said in a position statement that middle and high schools should start no earlier than 8:30. Now, I'm sure you've all heard this argument before, and it's certainly nothing new, but there is more research than ever to support a later starting time for school. The biggest argument against this has always been that if school starts later, teens will simply stay up later. And, well, not gonna lie, I definitely would. But according to the National Sleep Foundation, that's actually what's natural for teens. During puberty, brains begin producing the sleep-inducing hormone, melatonin, on a delayed schedule, making it difficult to feel tired and fall asleep before 11 p.m. And a teenager who goes to bed at 11 would need to sleep until 7:30 or later in order to get sufficient sleep. Therefore, if school starts at 8, it is impossible for students to get the amount of sleep they need. Now, I'm aware that changing the school schedule wouldn't be an easy switch for many, especially because it means extracurriculars and sports will have to start later. But sleep is definitely worth it. Getting the correct amount of sleep not only makes teens more alert, it also lowers the risk for depression, obesity, cardiovascular problems, and if that doesn't convince you, it can even get rid of acne. So, while it might be a little bit of an inconvenience to change the school schedule, it would be a big start to fixing a lot of problems. Like, if science showed that, I don't know, greenhouse gases are killing our planet, I'm sure we'd be willing to go to great lengths to fix that, right? Well, maybe that's not a good example. But the point is, it's time to change our school schedule. So I ask you to contact the administration, urging them to push our start time back, because it's time we listen to science about something. Gospel Choir is a club that meets weekly and is currently preparing for their first show of the year on November 18th.
I got started in gospel music as a very little girl. I grew up in church, so I was surrounded by the music, and so I just learned to appreciate the music. Gospel is a combination of jazz, of blues, of R&B, of rap. It's a great combination of all genres of music. So at an early age, I grew an appreciation for the music. Traditionally, the choir has been called the gospel choir. And so, of course, gospel music is our main style of music. But over the years, we have grown to encompass a lot of different styles of music, but anything that makes people feel good, that promotes positivity, healthy choices, that is the kind of music we do. Our first concert of this school year will be Saturday, November 18th at 7:30 p.m. in the auditorium. Tickets are $7.
The Happy Apple Pie Shop recently opened on Harrison Street. News Team went to take a look.
Hi, welcome to Happy Apple Pie Shop. How can I help you?
Today marks a year from the day I met you.
Began several years ago as an idea about creating a place that would employ people with and without disabilities. And a blended work environment, something a little different from what is typical for people with disabilities, and that's a a workshop where they go and work off-site somewhere, putting bottle caps on bottles or putting light bulbs in boxes. And so I didn't want the sheltered workshop model to be where our daughter, my daughter Emma, would wind up working. I thought there's got to be something different and more creative. So we came up with the idea of a pie shop. And we started almost 3.5 years ago thinking about how to operate it, and we worked out of a commercial kitchen that we rented, and that was in the River Forest kitchen. So in renting the kitchen, we were able to test two things. We were able to test, could we make good pie, and we were able to test, would the model work, having different people of different abilities work together. And when they both did, then we started to look for a place to have the store. Every week we start off with 4 pies. We always have apple because our name is Happy Apple, and so we have some sort of apple pie. And then we have 3 other pies that we make. For example, this week we have a chocolate chess pie. We are previewing our Thanksgiving pies, and that's because some of them are a little different and we want people to be able to have a taste before they order their pie. So we have our Canadian brown sugar pecan pie, which is a fabulous pie from Canada. It's the national pie of Canada, and we add pecans to give it that twist of the South. And we are having a cranberry sage pie, which sounds really weird but is fabulously delicious. Work environment. In the daytime, we have many people who are no longer in school, who have disabilities ranging from people with autism to people with intellectual disabilities. We have one man who is disabled after a severe stroke, and he needed work. He used to be a school teacher and needed to get out of the house. So we have a variety of people who come and work together every day here in the kitchen. And then in the evening, we pretty much employ OPRF students who have a hard time finding part-time jobs. And on Saturdays and Sundays, everybody gets the opportunity to work together.
Last week, an engineering class partnered with HepEd to learn about quadcopters. Let's take a look.
We're HepEd. We have a curriculum, a STEM-based curriculum, and this particular class is about data collection. And so we're using the drones, flying them, collecting data on pretty much what the kids can do. This is a course in measurement, really. We're using quadcopters to go through quite a few different exercises. So in some cases the kids are going down and they're kind of slaloming through the poles. Sometimes they're just kind of going there and coming back. Either way, what they're doing is collecting data, putting it in their Chromebooks, and then it winds up on this large chart. And what we're looking for is a great data set so that they can use it in their measurement module, which comes right after this.
That's it for this week, Huskies. Have a good one.
California,